upon a time, there was a young girl who wanted to be an artist. She loved art. She loved creating. She loved seeing what could be done with a new medium. But she did not grow up in a family with money. And so her stepdad said, "Not in my house. I'm not paying for an art degree. You're going to do something that will actually make a living." Well, after graduation, her travels took her to California. But she did not linger there. She married her high school sweetheart, who was in the Air Force at the time. And they were stationed in Germany. Beautiful place. But it was not a beautiful marriage. They were both very, very young. Too young, really. And so after 2 years, and many things in between, sadly, they were divorced. And the young girl, feeling like a mixture of she didn't have a lot of options, she wasn't really going anywhere, decided to join the Air Force to see what life was like on that side of things after having been a military housewife, which she was not very good at. And so she joined in 2005. And served for 4 years, having many life experiences. Luckily and thankfully, she was not deployed to the desert, though many of her friends and coworkers were. She tried to apply to an art school after her 4 years was up, but she never heard back from the school. So she had to figure out something else. And with a little luck, knowing the right people, and a really good barbecue meatball recipe, she landed a job as a contractor for the Air Force, doing her same job, but for considerably more money. But she knew, even though it made things financially secure for her, it was not what she wanted. Not even a little. She felt that missing part of her, that desire to create. It was always there. So she had to make some choices. Before she could make any of those choices, the contract she was working under was cut early for very many reasons, and very suddenly, which is not unusual in the contracting world. And so she was giving a choice to either take a job with her company, who said they had not fired her, therefore she was still employed. so she could either work for them in St. Louis, Missouri, or she could get deployed to Afghanistan for a whole year with hazard pay. But the young woman was very scared of deploying. She did not want that unknown adventure. And so she chose St. Louis. In the long run, it was the correct choice. She did not enjoy her job at all. She did not feel as though there was any real good that came from it. And she felt alone in her office. There were only maybe 6 other people in this office. A very small space. And she felt out of place. And so, after squirreling away as much money as she could so that she could keep paying her rent, the young woman quit her very good paying contracting job and left to go back to school. She wanted to go to college. She wanted to finish a degree. She did, after all, have the money from the GI Bill to do so, which was, in her mind, the best thing, because then she would not be drowning in debt when she got out. She had signed 4 years of her life away, 6 if you count contracting. So it was time to do something she really wanted to do. And so she did. She found a college. She started out at a community college, working on her general education, taking art classes as well as part of that. And finally, transferring to a university, a beautiful small college with a wonderful art program. And by the time she got there, she was discovering a love for one specific medium. And when she took her first ceramics class at the university, she knew she had found something worth pursuing. And when she woke up in the morning and realized it was the only thing that she wanted to do, that was it. And so 4.5 years after she started her journey to go back to school as a non-traditional student, graduating in her 30s, she did it. She got her degree in art. She paid for it all by herself. And with no one to tell her no to her dreams. In 2015, she started her business before she graduated. Such a small fledgling business. And that business is still growing today as Danny Soul Art. And if she had listened to the people in her life, well-meaning or not, well-intentioned or not, that told her it was not a good idea, it was useless, that they were concerned for her financial stability, she never would have started this business. She never would have found her medium. She would still be working just for a paycheck, feeling like there was a hole in her very soul, something just missing there. And she would not have started her business and brought what she knows has been joy, a little bit of whimsy, and as much beauty as she could bring to the world. Especially after seeing the horrors and violence of war. Even though she wasn't in the front lines, even though she didn't have boots on the ground, there were plenty of other ways to be exposed to the horrors of war, to see the loss, the wounds, the pain. And she wanted with every breath to bring something beautiful to this world, to bring something peaceful and joyful. There was enough pain and violence and suffering. And so that's what she's done. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to see you next time. The end.